What's up, y'all? Welcome back to Dolphins Daily, your daily dose of Dolphins content with your boy Chris Kane. Let's talk about the Dolphins. If you've been paying attention to the post NFL draft, we have a second round conundrum. Right? Basically, every second round pick except one has not signed with their team because one of the second round picks that got signed by the Texans got a fully guaranteed contract. And typically, as a second round pick, you get 3 years guaranteed, and the fourth year is kind of a player option. So you do get a bunch up front, but you don't get it all. Just in case, you're not good at the 3 years, or you do something stupid, have to get cut, legal stuff. We know what we're talking about here. And so because he got a fully guaranteed contract, basically the second round picks have banded together unofficially and just said, hey, we're not signing a contract until we get guaranteed contracts. Now, the NFL doesn't want to do this because that basically is what first round picks get. They don't want to extend that to second round picks because that also gives the players a little bit more power. You know how the NFL is. They're never trying to give the players more power. That puts the Dolphins in a weird place because our second round pick, Jonah has not signed yet. And we drafted him to be a starting guard. And my question is, who has the leverage here? Right? Because you assume, all right, he hasn't made any money yet. So the team has the leverage, but we drafted him because it was a position of need. We moved up in the draft to get him, which means, hey, we see value. Obviously, our guard situation last year was awful, and now we have not signed him. Now I had to look into the weeds on how all this stuff works out because where you are in the second round pick, your price is actually locked in. So he's not asking for more money. That's not really how the second round works. Everyone knows what everyone gets. Every time a pick goes down, you lose a couple of 100,000. Like it's a very he knows exactly what's contract. It's like 11.3 million. I know exactly how much money I'm going to make. Here's the difference. Typically, the fourth round is not guaranteed. So his fourth round contract in this case would be $1.7 million. That's what this whole standoff is. He's not getting more money. He's not getting more years. He's saying basically, if you pay me that fourth year, 1.7 million. By the way, this is 2028, 1.7 million. If you guarantee that 2028 salary, I'll sign today. And the Dolphins are like, no, we don't want to guarantee it. Now, as a fan, I want my quarterback to be safe. I want my O line to be good. I think he's better than the guards we have, sans James Daniels. But it's an interesting conversation because obviously we want him, and you're thinking, what's $1.7 million realistically 3 years from now? Like, is that really the make it or break it? And in this case, it kind of is because of precedent. So who has the leverage here? We need him to play because he's not with the team right now. He's not doing what he should be doing. He should be ingrained in the system. He should be getting better. He should be taking reps against NFL level D linemen. We got big. It should be him and Kenneth just like just going at it. Him and Big Zach should be fighting. That's what will make him a better player. And now he's waiting to get it paid. And the Dolphins are basically saying we don't want to set the precedent that every second round pick we get gets a fully guaranteed deal. And the consequence might be our guard is not as ready for the season, which may mean our quarterback is not as ready, our running game is not as ready. It's a tough situation because precedent are precedent. We understand it. But because the Texans have already done it, I don't know if you can go back. But I will say, when Deshaun Watson got his fully guaranteed deal, Kirk Cousins had also gotten a guaranteed deal. People didn't talk about it because it was like 3 years. I want to say 84 million, but check the numbers on your own time. But Kirk Cousins also got a guaranteed deal, but Kirk Cousins doesn't have the off the field issues, so no one talked about that. And then Deshaun got his out of control guarantee contract. And then the league just collectively colluded to not let that happen again. Lamar Jackson became a free agent, didn't get fully guaranteed. Joe Burrow got a contract, not fully guaranteed. Jordan Love, Tua, they all got big contracts, maybe more upfront than we've given before, but not fully guaranteed. They said we're not doing that again. So the league has shown that they can, when if need be, like put the kibosh on it, right? They don't need it to just sprinkle out of control where every second round pick for the rest of the time gets a fully guaranteed contract. I think personally the Dolphins should do it. We don't seem to need to be drafted a guard for the next couple of years. I wouldn't think we should be good at guard. James is a 3 year deal. Jonah's going to be on a contract for 4 to 5 years. We should be fine. But I understand if it's not on us. if it's above the Dolphins, if this is like an NFL level thing of, hey, we're not giving those deals out. But keep in mind, if we end up having O line issues again and Jonah looks like a rookie, we all know rookies get humbled at some point. They get, they get pushed off the line, they get dish ragged, and it's like, oh man, that kid looks like he's not quite ready for the NFL. If he's not quite ready for the NFL because we didn't want to give him $1.7 million in 2028, I think that's team malpractice. That's how I feel about it. So who has the leverage? I think in a weird way, Jonah kind of has the leverage because the alternative is, all right, Jonah, you play, or we're playing Liam Eichenberg back in. And if you tell Dolphin fans today our starting right guard is going to be Eichenberg, I guarantee you there would be a low level mutiny. No one's here for that. We signed him to be an insurance policy only. We did not sign him to be our starting guard. We've seen that. We're over it. So I don't know what Jonah's going to do with that leverage. I mean, he hasn't been particularly vocal. Like, he's not beating his chest. He's basically saying, I know how much money I'm going to get. I just wanted all that signing. I don't want to have to wait for 3 years to get the money. We'll see what happens. Now, I saw this and I couldn't believe it because I was loud on this channel saying there will be no Asante Samuel Jr. on the Dolphins because his dad popped off at the mouth and went at everybody. Scorch earth, John Wick style, just took out the whole organization. But there are reports that Asante Samuel Jr. is like, hey, I know what my dad said. Still open to going to the Dolphins. Like, hey, I'm willing to still play, even though my dad said y'all are basically running a, banana stand. And, and like, I know y'all aren't the greatest organization of all time. I'm willing to pay with y'all. I don't know what he's talking about, even though he's most likely talking to me about my dealings with you up to this point. Not important to this story, but I'm still willing to play. And what that basically means to me is if we pay the price, then we get the player. That's what it sounds like. And also, he hasn't really gotten as many offers this offseason as I'm sure he wanted. So the idea that I'm going to be a beggar and a chooser doesn't quite align. If there are people beating down his door, paying him the money that he thinks he's earned, then the Dolphins, I'm pretty sure, will be out. Like, hey, they don't see value in me, whatever, I'm out. But when you're not making that money, starting to creep up on the season, teams are starting to see how they're rookies and later round pick guys, maybe they seen how they plan. It's like, oh, that guy's not bad. We're looking at Asante, but this fourth round pick might be a better bet. One, for sure, cheaper. Two, younger. I don't know. Maybe we don't need him. And the longer it goes into the season, the worse it's going to be for him. So this may be more of I'm not going to say desperation, but a situation of, hey, I'm still open to do business. Like, hey, I'm not, just because dad closed the door, he not me. We got the same name, not the same man. All right. I am willing to show up and put that jersey on and get some money if you give me the money. That's what it sounds like to me. So we will keep you posted on this because I have said many times that ain't happening. He's not coming. It's over. But he isn't gone anywhere else yet, and we haven't signed another corner. So it's a possibility. I don't know what likelihood, but I mean he's been injured, which is not great. He's been injured, which is not great. He's young, which is, we'll see. So the NFL put out a top 10 quarterback poll voted on by executives and coaches and other people in the league. And Tua did not make the top 10 list. He did get a few votes, and he wasn't one of the honorable mentions, which is like the number 11 and 12 slot of the list, which means that at the highest level, execs and other coaches see him as the 13th best quarterback or somewhere below that. That's what that means. The top 10 are who you expect: Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, Lamar, Stafford, Daniels, Herbert, Hurts, Goff, and Baker. So I think that list is not bad. I'm pretty cool with the list. I know I'm really high on Stafford. A lot of people aren't. Apparently, the league execs are also very high on Stafford. The top four, we know who the top four are. I think they're in their own tier. I've said this on the channel. I think those four are those four, and then it's everybody else. So Tua got some votes, but he didn't quite make the list. Now, last year, Tua was honorable mention, which means that they had Tua at either 11 or 12 going into last year. That was fresh off of making it to the playoffs, fresh off of that awful defeat to the Chiefs. But the league said, hey, He led a team to 11 wins, went to the playoffs, was healthy all year, led the league in passing. That guy's a top 12 quarterback. And then this past year, obviously injured, now he falls below again. So just like most stats and most like conversation around Tua, it always comes down at some point to his injury. That's what it is. Is he hurt? Is he playing? When Tua plays, then people say spoken. Hey, he's a top 12 quarterback. Easily can slot out 9 and 10 with 11 and 12, right? He can go either way with there. But when he gets hurt, that guy's not good anymore. So it's not a matter of whether he's a good player or not. I think part of it is durability is part of your top 10, top 12 status. It just is. Everybody in that top are great and relatively healthy. At one point, Dak was in there. Dak had a year where he got hurt. Guess what? Not in there anymore. Everybody else in that top 10, they're playing 15, 16, 17 games a year. And a lot of them are going to the playoffs, and a lot of them are winning in the playoffs. That's what it is. So you can make now, other than Justin Herbert, who inexplicably will not ever fall out of a top 10 list. Just whatever. I've seen Justin Herbert as high as number 3 on these lists, and I just won't ever. I just won't ever. He has not beaten anyone good. He's not won any playoff games. He has no all pros. He has no. What are we doing? I get it. He's tall with a big arm. I got it. It's just insufferable. And because him and Tua are in the same drafts, it just makes me sick. Because the only thing you can say about Herbert is that he's been healthier than Tua. He hasn't won a higher percentage of games. He's not been better in the playoffs. He's not been better against good teams. He just throws a prettier ball, and he's a taller person. And he's been healthier, but he's also been banged up a little bit. Last year, like 2 years ago, he got banged up a lot. He missed a couple games, but that's fine. Herbert is the one exception where they don't care what his team does. They just have bestowed him as a top 10 guy. We got it. He's not going nowhere until he, I don't know, has a devastating injury of some sort, which we hope he doesn't. This is tough, I guess, as a Dolphin fan, because it really makes you put in perspective how the league sees Tua, right? As fans, we're obviously biased. And Tua is polarizing to some degree with our fan base. Most Dolphin fans are behind Tua. There's, some vocal who are like, he was never the right guy. We should have gone somewhere else. We got to restart. Those people exist too. But overall, Tua's beloved down here. We're fans. This is what the league thinks of him. They think, hey, good player, not elite. That's what they think about him. And I think that's an interesting place to be going into the year, because hopefully that can be motivating for him to get back into the at least honorable mention category. Because right now Jordan Love is there, and Jordan Love, when he had that playoff run against the Cowboys and he was thrown off his back foot, was fantastic. But Jordan Love last year was very erratic. But guess what? He throws a good deep ball. Jordan Love also got hurt last year, so I don't know. That can't be a durability thing. It's just like we just think he has higher upside. He's got a better arm. A lot of these lists are, can you throw the ball far? that's it. Hey, he throws the ball well. I like him, but hopefully Tua is motivated by this, and we will see what he does with it. Now we're gonna jump right into the comment, because the main comment today is actually fresh off of the top 10 list. People hit me up as soon as it happened. Yo, man, how you feel about Tua not making the list? Which is kind of a question I've got into. But the real question is, how does Tua get into the top 10? Now that we see what the list is, because if we didn't have a list, we could just make up anybody's in the top 10. I think Kyler Murray's in the top 10. Kyler Murray got votes to be in the top 10, but he also didn't make it. If you don't know who's in the top 10, it's hard to do a list. It's hard to talk about how Tua gets in there. Now that I see what the list is, they have Jared Goff at 8, which I think is interesting, because I compare who Tua is most favorably to who Jared Goff is. I will say this: Jared Goff has been much more. He's been much better in the playoffs. Jared Goff's been to a Super Bowl, been to an NFC Championship, won a playoff game in multiple stints. Like, I get that part of it. I'm talking regular season, because we got to judge it somewhat on that. Regular season, what Jared Goff does for Detroit, I think Tua does a lot for Miami. Jared Goff is obviously taller, probably has a better arm, but not particularly more mobile. Been pretty healthy though, despite him being skinny. But I think if you put Tua on Detroit, I think you get the same team. I don't think Jared Goff is giving you an extra premium that Tua can't give you. I think that offensive line is dominant and has been. I think he has arguably the best running game in the league, which has been dominant. And they had the second, third best offensive line behind like McVay and maybe Andy Reid. Like you can really, there's a lot that was happening to let Jared Goff be what he was. Jared Goff's also the same guy that got traded for Matt Stafford. So there's something in that. So if Jared Goff is 8, I think that might be what the ceiling for Tua is in this current NFL iteration. Now some guys might come and go, but that feels like that's where he can get. Baker Mayfield's at 10. And Baker was not on the list at all last year. I thought it was great last year. Jumped to 10. Is Baker going to do that again? Tampa's set up to do that. I think Bucky's great. I think obviously Mike Evans is a GOAT. They got Godwin coming back. They got McMillan coming back. They drafted another receiver, Emeka Ibuka. Offense line has always been solid. So the idea that Baker Mayfield is going to drop off, I don't really see. I see no reason why he would. Mike Evans is probably not going to be as good as he has been for the last 11 years. But the rest of those offensive weapons should be more than solid, more than solid. So I can see Baker kind of staying on the list, and Jalen Hurts is up there, and I think Jalen Hurts should stay up there. So really, I'm looking at Jared Goff. I think Detroit could take a little step back this year. I can see that. They lost Ben Johnson. That's the thing. They lost someone on the offensive line. I think one of their center retired. They lost someone on the offensive line. I don't know which position, but somebody defected from the line. Either they got traded or they retired. So they're not going to be as fortified on the line. And again, the main offensive mind is not there anymore. So if I'm a Tua stand and I'm trying to project where can Tua go, what's the highest he can go? Now, theoretically, if he's Tua's at 14 now, going from 14 to 8 doesn't make sense. You would think 9 and 10 would just move up a slot and whatever. But as a Tua fan, I'm thinking Jared Goff is the spot I'm aiming at. That's where I'm trying to get to. I think Hurts has been to 2 Super Bowls and been great in both Super Bowls. I don't see why he can knock Hurts off, even if Hurts has whatever year. He's just done too much. And Baker has won a couple of playoff games. Like he's done something. But I think Goff is the target because I think they played the most similar to each other. And I think the things you would say about Tua, not super mobile, pocket passer, it's the same thing you would say about Goff. And so you have to see them in the same like lens. And it will be what we've always said. He's got to play this whole year. Honestly, I'll say this. If Tua plays like he did 2 years ago this year, I think he'll be in the top 10 list next year. I think a couple guys on that list are going to maybe like we're assuming that Stafford will stay where he is. I'm not a Herbert guy to that level. I'm just not. And if they don't make the playoffs again, which I'm predicting they will not because I think they're the third best team in their division. If they don't make the playoffs this year and they don't win again, you can't keep telling me he's top 10. You just can't. He's not going to be a 27 going on 28-year-old. And you just like, yeah, I mean, I know he hasn't done anything, but I love that guy. It's like, so I'm looking at him and I'm looking at Goff if I'm a Tua fan. That I think both of those spots are up to be taken, but Tua's going to need to be 30 or 35 touchdowns, obviously more than 4,000 yards. He's got to play at least 16 games. If he does that, I think he has a chance to get in there. But also, like, ranked above Tua, C.J. Stroud, who I think can easily be in the top 10. I like C.J. Stroud, probably even more than Baker Mayfield. But, so C.J. is also kind of in the way. And I think Jordan Love he's not overrated, is tough. It's overrated adjacent. Like his talent is what people think his talent is. And when he plays up to his talent, he is that. But I think he doesn't always play up to that. And I see a lot of the other guy when I see him play. The same guy that'll throw in a triple coverage and drop it through a needle is the same guy that throw in triple coverage and get a pick 6 with a game on the line. Like he's got both of those sides to him. And, he's obviously more physically talented, but I don't know. Got questions about that guy. So, yes, he's not in the top 10. I think he can get there. He's been honorable mention before, which means they thought he was a top 12 guy already. So, he can get there, but Tua's got to lock in. We've said it. Got to be healthy. Got to play well. And ultimately, probably has to win a playoff game. Yeah. Everybody else on that list, sans Herbert, has at least won a playoff game. It can't just be the 4,000 yards, 30 touchdowns. Got to get in there. Got to win a playoff game. And preferably beat a guy on this top 10 list. Number of guys in the AFC, I think it's 6 of them. Like, plenty of guys you can play. He's got to win a playoff game, beat one of the guys on the list, while also putting up good numbers. And I think he could, maybe possibly, sneak it to the top 10. But that's all we have today for Dolphins Daily, man. We appreciate the love and support. Thank y'all for the likes and subscribes. We appreciate all of that. And we'll see you next time on Dolphins Daily. Peace.